Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Related to the Game. As always, Ben Eitenbrook, joined by the one and only Prasan Kanotek. Uh, Prasan, let's just fire it off right away. How's it feel to be a national champ?
It feels great. It doesn't feel better than this. Let me tell you, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put into this was worth it.
Yeah, I'm sure you really worked hard.
I worked hard. I put a lot of effort into this. Um, it feels great, man. I mean, this is what you dream for, and years of watching Michigan basketball on your team. This is what you're hoping for. So, it was cool. I'll talk a little about the Final Four and just kind of the experience in Indianapolis, but we'll talk about the games first. So, you get the first game of the Final Four. You get Illinois and UConn, and you know 85% of the city of Indianapolis on Saturday was Illinois fans. I mean, it was just packed. The entire stadium was packed. I mean, I sat upper level, really kind of on the right side of the basket, on the baseline, and just looking down, it's like a sea of orange. I mean, that's all
Wow.
you can see. They're chanting. They have their big chant is like someone will start by chanting ILL, and then everyone else chants I, and that was just like deafening. I mean, throughout the corridors of the Lucas Oil Stadium, throughout the game, I mean, it's deafening in there.
That's pretty sweet.
It was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of glad they lost, because if Michigan would have played them in the national championship, I mean, they for sure would have had the home field advantage there. So, kind of glad they lost. That game was a good game. I mean, it felt like UConn always kind of had control of the game, but then all of a sudden towards the end of the game, the Illinois kind of stormed back a little bit. It ended up being a couple within like 4 or 5 points at one point. And
Yeah.
I remember I got up with like 4-ish minutes to go in the game. I went to the bathroom and whatnot, and I was like, I'll get back for the end of the game. And I was out there, and they had the game on the TVs, and all of a sudden it was like a 3-point game. I think Illinois hit a 3, and then I'm like, oh my God, I got to get back to the seat here. So I got back, and then UConn kind of pulled away with it there. But yeah, overall that was a decent game. The Michigan game, I thought that was going to be just like this, like two Goliaths going at each other, and it just wasn't. I mean, that's the Michigan team that this team is they're just beating good opponents and beating them bad. And I mean, they played insane that game. Defense was incredible. I ran into a ton of Arizona fans throughout the throughout the weekend, really, even. And overall, they were just shell shocked. I mean, that's just like the vibe. Everyone was kind of like shocked. I mean, I went into the weekend thinking like, hey, you know what? We might win this game. We might lose this game. It's going to be really, really close. It's going to be a great basketball game. And it wasn't. I mean, it was, for me, it was fun. I mean, I had a great time, but it was not a good basketball game. And so poor Arizona fans, I mean, they had the most traveling to do for the most part. And they kind of came up and watched them get whacked and then went home.
Yeah. Yeah. Brutal. Crazy game. I just can't believe that it was just a blowout.
It really was crazy to watch, because it just felt like the entire game you were waiting on Arizona just to go on this run, and they really never did. I mean, they went on two kind of small ones, one a little bit right out of halftime, which I kind of expected. I'm like, hey, I don't even remember what we were up at halftime, but all of a sudden I'm like, hey, they're going to go on a little bit of a run here, and if we just weather the storm there, we'll be good. And they did that well, so that was good. So then I had like the weekend in Indianapolis. This was a full like fly by the seat of my pants weekend. It was going to be a matter of like, hey, they were going to win on Saturday. And if they went one Saturday, I was okay, I'm going to have the weekend here and we'll figure out what we're going to do. And otherwise it was going to be like, hey, they would have lost and that game would have ended at midnight. And I would have like went and slept for 3 hours. And then I would have seen you at Easter. Like I would have just like drove home. Like it would have been a very quick trip. So thankfully it wasn't. National championship game.
Whoa, first, I heard a little bit
Yes.
about it. You got to give me and the audience a little walkthrough of your Easter Sunday alone in Indianapolis. How did you celebrate?
Yeah. Yeah. So, the game ended and I was ready to like go out, right? I was exhausted. I was very tired because I left Milwaukee about like 8 or 9 a.m. And it took actually a long time to get to Indianapolis. It was like pouring rain. Everyone was driving like 50 miles an hour on the interstate.
Oh.
There was no it like wasn't great. Driving in Indianapolis is like not fun. So I was tired when the game was over, and I was like, you know what, we gotta like go out. Like, who knows? We might lose the national championship. So like, if we won the game, beat Arizona, gotta go out for at least one or two. So I went out for a couple. The one thing that's interesting to me about Indianapolis there, especially with how they have the start times for the games, is everything's like kind of closed. Like it wasn't like a super like rowdy crowd and like, hey, let's go out and celebrate and go to the bar and anything like that. Like as you're walking out of the stadium, you're noticing pretty much everything's closed. There are a few bars open, but by no means was it like a rager downtown. In fact, most people that were leaving were just like heading back to their hotel and stuff like that. So I went out to there's this like country bar down there that I went to and had a few and it was good. The coolest part leaving the stadium actually is that all the Michigan fans were just like chanting and yelling and screaming and singing "Hail to the Victors" and all the good stuff. So that was cool, like just walking out of the stadium with everybody after the game. So then I went back to the hotel. I'll be honest, I was in a very sketchy hotel the first night, because my thought was like, hey, if I'm here for one night, like it is what it is. We'll just cheap out a little bit. I'll probably sleep here for 3-4 hours and leave. So like not a great hotel experience. So the first thing I did when I got back to the hotel was book a new hotel, since I knew I was going to be staying now for a couple days. I was like, well, I'm not staying here. So I booked a new hotel. Woke up Sunday. It was Easter, so I went to church. Went to a brunch. I watched a church service online. I went to brunch. Kind of hung out there. The afternoon on Sunday was pretty chill. And then I went to this steakhouse that was. It looked in my eyes when I Googled it. I Googled a few places of where to go, and there were some really fancy places, and I was like, I don't know if I'm really like feeling that or whatnot. And I went to the steakhouse, or I went to this place that looked like a glorified Applebee's. Like it was right across the street from my new hotel, and I when I saw it, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be like severely disappointed here or not. But anyways, I sat down at the bar when I got there. And I think the waiter knew I was like looking to have a good time. Like he was just like, hey, I think this guy's like looking to go balls to the walls here. So I asked him, I'm like, hey, what do you recommend on the menu? And he threw a couple things out there and he's like, oh, we like the ribs. The ribs are fall off the bone. It's like the steaks here are really good. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I was like, we'll do the combo platter. I'll do the steak and the ribs. Did the mac and cheese, the mashed potatoes. It's perfect. The ribs were not fall off the bone, I will say. He kind of lied to me there, but the steak was phenomenal.
1 out of 2.
And then
you'll take it. That's how you get the combo.
Take 1 out of 2.
Yep.
That's right. And also, like, I thought it was going to be like combo to be like half portion sizes. They were like, it was like a full rack of ribs and a full steak. So I was pleased there. And then I got the margarita with like several shots of tequila in it and like the tequila floater on top. Like,
oh, yep.
The man really upsold me, I'll be honest, but we'll take it. And that was pretty much my Sunday. Monday,
Nice.
I did a little bit of work in the morning, but then about noon, I headed down to Indianapolis and I was just like out with the people then. It was cool. They had a kind of like a fan event set up that I hadn't seen Saturday. The cool part about being there both days and over the weekend is I got to actually experience like outdoor fan fest, like the Final Four, all that kind of good stuff. Because on Saturday, it was raining so hard during the day that like nobody was outside, including myself. I didn't really walk much outside. I kind of walked through the buildings to get to the game, and then went through their indoor fan fest and things like that. But outside they had like, it was just kind of like a courtyard. They called it their tailgate party. You could walk through it and they had a bunch of free stuff. So like they actually had like a Wendy's food truck there, and you could just go and like get chicken nuggets, and they had chicken nuggets and fries they were handing out to like people. You could just like walk up and get it. So that was cool. They had like Shaq has like a new gummy candy that he's like promoting now, and they're called like Shaq-alicious or something like that. So they're handing out like free bags.
No
of
giving
that.
out free
like,
sponsorships on the pod here, man. You got to make them earn it.
That's true. That's true.
Shaq,
They got to earn it.
Shaq, hit us up. You can be our first sponsor.
First sponsor, Shaq. That'd be phenomenal. I mean,
That'd be great.
how does it get better than that?
Yeah.
But anyway, they were giving out free candy and stuff like that. So I got some of that. And then I actually ran into earlier that morning an Arizona fan in our hotel who obviously had purchased tickets and things like that for the game, assuming they were going to be there. And he had like VIP passes for like a pregame, like food and drink party and things like that. They had music, they had all this kind of good stuff going on there. So I went to that because he's like, hey, if you want the tickets, like I'll sell them to you for like $25. And I'm like, sure, why not? So they had like kind of a buffet of food, just your typical. It's a little bit more elevated, but your typical kind of tailgate, going to a basketball game food. They had different like activities and stuff going on. They actually had Aaron Nesmith from the Pacers. He was there. So, yeah, I mean, just kind of a cool event, and then went into the game. But overall, I'd say about just kind of the Indianapolis experience, the Final Four experience, before I talk about the championship game, is especially if your team is there, you should go like one time.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it was worth going.
100% worth it. I think another thing too is like March Madness and the championship in general is going to be your cheapest, like get into a championship game you're ever going to experience. Obviously you have the World Series, the Super Bowl, NHL playoffs, even like, baseball playoff games, not including like the final game. You're going to get more expensive. I mean, tickets for the Final Four, I was looking on the last day. I bought them before the tournament even started, so I'm not a good sample size because I got them really cheap. But on the last day, because Illinois was there for the Final Four, it was a little more expensive because they had a lot of Illinois fans driving up. But for the Final Four, I mean, you could get both games for sit in the nosebleeds. You could have got it for like between $400 and $500 for both games. For the championship game, when Illinois lost, the tickets plummeted right away. And then day of the game, I mean, 3-4 hours before the game, upper baseline seats, $100. I mean,
Dang.
it was cheap. Yeah, $100. So again, that kind of depends too on the teams that are there and all that kind of stuff and where it's being played. Obviously, Indianapolis was a quick drive for Michigan fans, was a quick drive for Illinois fans, but overall, I think it was for sure worth it. I think.
Would you recommend it to just like a fan that doesn't have their team there?
So that's the thing. I would in some capacity. The thing about my first thought when I first like got to Indianapolis on Saturday, I'm walking around. I don't know if anybody listening that's ever been to like a corporate conference. So like I have, obviously, with my job, we have corporate conferences once or twice a year, and we go. That's like what the vibe is. Like you're walking through like convention centers. It's like an annual conference meeting for college basketball fans. You see just like random college basketball fans walking around. Not obviously it's mostly for the teams that are there, but other fans too. There were a lot of Duke fans there. I'm assuming it's because they potentially bought tickets and then they lost and couldn't get them refund or sell or just wanted to go. But a lot of different fans there. I think you're better off if you're going. I think there's a lot to experience if you're not a fan of the teams going there. And then I think what you can do for something like this is just wait last minute and you could get a ticket to the national championship for cheap. I don't think you need to rush the getting tickets. I think it's a good experience. I think that's something that if you're not a fan of the teams there, you could still go and enjoy. I wouldn't go and like shell out a bunch of money if I wasn't the fan of the team there, but there is a chance that you go there and all of a sudden ticket prices drop day of and then I'd do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good take. Yeah, because I always kind of just wondered, like, well, it sounds cool to go there, but also, I don't know. You're kind of just, you end up in the nosebleeds of a football stadium trying to watch a basketball game in the middle of the field. I didn't know if that part alone would take away from all the other benefits of all the experience of being there to make it worth it or not, but.
So that's another thing is like I heard going in and this could be Indianapolis specific. I'm not sure, but I heard going in, first of all, everyone says Indianapolis should host this like every year. They say Indy is a great city to host it. Everything is super walkable, which is true. I mean, I paid like $20 to park for like the full day. And it was like a 12-minute walk after the game was over. Like it was not far at all. And everything is super walkable and close. But the argument people make about March Madness and the final four in the championship game is it's played in a basketball stadium. Can you really see? And I was a little worried going in. My goal for myself going in was like, don't sit behind the basket. Because if you sit behind the basket, you could be all the way up there and who knows where you're going to be at and what you're going to see. So my goal was always like, hey, at the very least, let's sit baseline. So even if we're far away, we can like see straight on what's going on. And I think after walking through there and with sitting there, it's not that big of a deal. You can see everything fine. You can see what's going on. You know, the only thing I felt like I was watching the Jumbotron and the screen for was like replays of fouls for sure. There were some of them if they were.
Which you're going to be doing at a basketball stadium too.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're going to do that anyways. But the only other thing is like celebrations or things like that. Somebody hits a big three. Like you watch the celebration on the screen a little bit more. But again, to your point, you're going to be doing that at a basketball stadium too. So the views weren't bad from the seats. I even at one point I stood behind one of the baskets and was just kind of watching, I think during the Illinois game from behind the basket. And honestly, I think that's fine too. Where I think you could run into an issue is like the top right corner. So you have like behind the basket, you have the baseline, like everything in between here. If you get to the back top corner, you're pretty far away.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think you potentially could have a bad seat there. But behind the baseline, I thought was fine, or above the baseline was fine, and I thought behind the basket was good too.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen just online, the student sections would be the worst viewing because it's like they're right behind the basket and it's such a shallow incline that like you can't see anything the way it looks from like videos people take and stuff.
Yeah, the student sections look like, you know, when you're sitting up there, you're like, man, it'd be cool to be that close and like be going to the school and be in the student section. But yeah, the view is not really great. I mean, you can see certain things happening, obviously a little bit closer to the basket, but yeah, you're like, it's so long, right?
You can't see the floor. You could see the basket, but not the floor.
Yep,
basically.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so anyways, you can get to the actual game itself. Michigan, UConn.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Michigan, you know, I was always the whole day I was thinking, I'm like, do I want this to be a good game or do I want to just like blow the water or blow the doors off this place? Like I really didn't know. And I mean, we got a good game. I mean, and I think really the reason we got a good game is like Michigan played possibly their worst game of the year.
It was ugly.
And they still won. It was ugly on both ends. And part of that, I mean, I'll give credit to UConn defensively. They played very well, and we were in trouble. But the other issue is Michigan just couldn't make threes. They were just dreadful from three. They didn't make a three until probably, oh gosh, I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes into the second half. They made their first three. They hit two only all game. One of them Cadeau hit, and I think that was 5 minutes into the second half. And then McKinney hit the kind of not dagger, but like felt like the dagger at the time, which was a big three. So it was a good game. I mean, up until the end, really, I mean, it was a close game. You never felt good. You never felt like, oh, we're going to like win this game. It felt like most of the game, like, okay, Michigan feels in control, and what people around me in general, by the way, it was like 90% Michigan fans now on Monday. Like people even like made the drive just for Monday from Michigan. I talked to a lot of people. They're like, yeah, we just came down for the day and whatnot. So a lot of Michigan fans around me, and we were never like, oh, this feels good. It felt like we had control. And what we were all kind of just banking on is like, hey, at some point, the shots are just going to go in. Like, this is just like not who we are as a team. Like at some point, a three is going to go in. At some point, they're going to make a basket. It felt like they really compensated by driving to the hoop eventually. I mean, Mara had a couple good dunks. There were a couple good alley-oops there. Eventually, they just started like driving to the hoop, which was good because it felt like a little bit more in the first half. They're like, oh, let's just keep shooting three, and eventually one will go in, and none of them did in the first half. So I think they eventually figured it out a little bit, settled in, and kind of like Dusty May said actually in the post game or in the interview is like, you know, if you would have told me that we would have shot as poorly as we did and we would have won, like I don't know if I'd have believed you, but this is the team that's figured it out all year. Every year when one part of the game isn't working well and other parts compensates for it. So same sort of thing happened. I mean, defensively they played really, really well, and that helped for poor shooting throughout the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you miss at all? I guess we talked about your view and experience, like watching the game was pretty good, but did you miss the experience of watching the broadcast and like getting the analysis and commentary on like what the fouls are being called, or like the coaches' interviews at timeouts? Like there was one point in the first half when I think it was towards the end of the first half, and they interviewed Dan Hurley during one of the TV timeouts. And he said, like, yeah, we're dragging them into an ugly game, and that's exactly what we need to do to win. And that was kind of like, it was an ugly game, and to see him say, like, yeah, that was our game plan coming in, you know, that added some to it. Did you feel like you were missing that while you were there? And if, I guess, after the fact, I guess, did you go back and rewatch the game?
Yeah. So while you're there, actually, I feel like you don't miss it. You can kind of tell what's going on. You could tell you could tell when Hurley was irritated and yelling at the refs. You could tell when Dusty was frustrated. I mean, you could tell some of those things. You miss the interviews a little bit. So like the halftime interview, like Alexis was telling me like, about Yaxel's interview at halftime, basically saying like, hey, I'm like in a lot of pain. Like this sucks. I'm not shooting well. And like everything's going terribly. And she was telling me she sent me that text at halftime, and I'm like, well, that feels not good. Like feels like you shouldn't say that out loud, but like, you know, is what it is. But so you missed actually like that. I missed that part of it. Like in timeout interviews and things like that of the coaches, you don't miss a ton while you're there. I think especially just being in the atmosphere, you're kind of just like, you got like you're juiced up, and
it doesn't cross your mind really.
It doesn't cross your mind really at the time. I did not go back and watch the full game afterwards on TV, but I did see a lot of replays of interviews and commentary and things like that. So that was kind of cool to watch on the back end. I will say also, and like, a world we're in with social media now, like anything that's happening, like intermission wise, you're probably seeing or hearing as some sort of tweet or post or Facebook or whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
you can see what that is. So you do get a little bit of that. You don't maybe necessarily hear it, but you can see like, oh, this is what it is. Like in the Final Four when Yaxel went out to the locker room to get looked at on his ankle. We obviously in the stadium saw he had left, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what. And I mean, I was on X or Twitter, whatever, and at the next intermission, and I could see. So it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
he had ankle problems and is getting it wrapped up back there. So you know what's going on. It's just not necessarily being face to face broadcasted to you
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of crazy, like seeing some of the stats about Michigan and how it was just like all transfers, and then like people talking about, like, I guess the starting lineup was all transfers basically.
Yeah.
And people were talking about like, well, they just bought a championship. That's kind of dumb or whatever. And then there's other people saying that's exciting for every single fan out there, no matter who you cheer for, because next year you could win the national championship if you
Yeah.
get one or two rich alumni that want your team to win a national championship and throw a few $1,000,000 at it. That could be you next year. So like,
I
I
mean,
don't know. It's a weird
you
world
look
we're living
at-
in, but it goes both ways, I guess.
You look at like Indiana in football, like the Indiana Hoosiers won a national championship. I mean, same
Yeah.
sort of thing, right? Like threw a bunch of money at it, and like that is exciting because any team that's out there that it's like, hey, we're never going to be relevant enough. Well, you can now, right? You have the opportunity to do that, and the argument of Michigan buying a team. I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, they put money towards it, and they put money towards it, and they did get a lot of transfers in that way. The other thing with that, though, is like looking at who the transfers were. I mean, you've got a guy that was essentially benched on the UCLA team, who was barely playing there. Mick Cronin like forgot about the guy, and he didn't play. So Dusty May went, recruited him, got him. He's all of a sudden a starter who's really good. You have Johnson, who was in Illinois, who the Illinois fans didn't like him. They didn't want him on the team. And then all of a sudden he went to another Big Ten school. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, he left. Like, how dare he? We're going to boo him. Well, you didn't want him in the first place. You've got a guy that was playing at UAB. I mean, like you've got people coming in that are like the nobodies and
Yeah, it's
people
not like they
that
assembled the
were forgot-
Avengers.
It's not like they went out and got the 5 best players in the country and brought them
Yeah.
together. I mean, they had to put a lot of work in. They got these guys that Dusty May thought were valuable to recruit, brought them in and like put in a lot of work, and now they all of a sudden they're good. So
Yeah, and that proves, I guess, more so to the point of, yeah, that could be your team next year if you get the right coach in there who knows how to build a team and knows how to coach a team and picks the right guys there's guys, yeah, that could be under the radar from other teams.
Yeah.
You get them maybe out of the bargain bin as far as the transfer portal and what you got to pay them in NIL, and all of a sudden you've got the right pieces, and if it all comes together right, boom, you are a contender just like that. So yeah, I'm not one to say like, oh, it's just dumb they just bought a championship, because yeah, all those things we just said. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's a weird new time, and it makes for interesting storylines, and you never know what's next. So kind of fun
Yeah.
that way. But yeah, so how does this rank compared to winning the football championship a couple years ago with Michigan? As far as the fan experience, I guess this one you were at, so that's a bit different. But as far as where does it rank in your sports fan achievements ranking?
Michigan basketball has always had a really, really special place for me. It just mainly because of just like past memories. When you think about Michigan football, especially in the championship they won a few years ago. Um, that one felt good in an aspect of like, you know what? We won the championship. We kind of avenged past losses, beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State, beat Penn State, teams that had beaten us in the past and were just really simply better than us at the time. And it's like, hey, they came out and they did it. It felt good with Jim Harbaugh. Like that was one that just like felt good as like a team, and felt good about like the program. This one was like more special to me. Thinking back, like March Madness is always something I've like going back to like high school. I've always taken off those first couple days of March Madness. I've always watched basketball. I didn't go to school or went half day at school. I've always done that throughout my entire working career. I've watched just like special players playing for Michigan basketball. I mean, you've got, Trey Burke, obviously, in those couple of years that he played, and they went to the championship and lost to Louisville. You've got, obviously, there was years of Mitch McGarry, Jordan Poole, Mo Wagner, Franz, his brother, Nick Stauskas. I mean, there's just like, I can go on and on of players that I've watched play Michigan basketball, and they have just come up short. And some of that is like, they just weren't the better team. And some of them were some just magical Cinderella runs. And, Michigan basketball winning like felt better. It felt special to me. It was special. There's a lot that goes into Michigan basketball. It's always been a special thing for me. I like college basketball a lot. I like college basketball more than I like the NBA, more than I like several other sports. So this one like felt more special to me personally, but I think the football one was like a special one for the program and the school.
Yeah, that's cool. You've been kind of spoiled lately the last couple of years getting some national championships out there. Hopefully Wisconsin can take some notes and turn their programs around a little bit, especially football. They're kind of going in the dumpster lately. But yeah, I guess other basketball, while we're talking basketball, college wrapped up. Last night I was just kind of sitting at home. Lily was off with her mom friends having a little Bible study night, and so I thought, what the heck? I'll throw on a little NBA playoff action here, and man, it was a banger of a game. It was
great game last night.
Heat Hornets game. Man, that was. I turned on in like beginning of the fourth quarter. That was electric. That was a lot of fun. I have not watched much of any NBA basketball this year, but yeah, I mean, playoffs. Whatever, no matter the sport, once you get playoffs, it's just so much more fun to watch. And just the atmosphere and just the level of effort on every possession, and you just feel the gravity of every bucket so much more. And it was just a lot of fun. I saw the highlights after the fact, but earlier in the game, LaMelo Ball trips Bam Adebayo, and it takes him out of the game. Like,
yeah,
that was kind of crazy. I saw the replay, and I'm like, he very clearly like grabbed his ankle and pulled it out from underneath him. But then in the interview, he was like, "Well, I just fell down. I didn't even know which way I was facing. I apologize to him and hope he's all right. Whatever." It's like, well, dude, you pretty clearly just kind of yanked his ankle. So
And that's probably the difference in the game. I mean, that's for sure the difference in the game. They lose by 2 or 1?
Well, it went to overtime. But yeah, they lost by 1.
Yeah, by 1, by like kind of last second. Yeah. So I mean, that's the difference in the game. I mean, he's a star player for them. So not having him out there, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. My fellow Wisconsinite, Con Knipple, struggled, man. He was 0 for 6 from 3, and then they just benched him, which I thought was kind of crazy. I know he's a rookie. Maybe he's just deer in the headlights in the playoffs here, and you make that decision to bench him. But at the same time, man, he's like the best 3-point shooter in the league this year, pretty much. Like he was a stud for you all year, and to bench a guy in the playoffs after basically 3.5 quarters of bad shooting, I don't know. That's tough on him. He's a professional. He's got to handle it and bounce back with confidence for their next game. But I don't know. It worked out for him, and they had other guys step up and hit huge shots. Brandon Miller did really well, and Kobe White, he had a crazy shot right at the end of the fourth quarter to save the game off the side inbounds, just
Yeah.
right on the sideline, turning around, chucked it up and drained it. That was crazy. But yeah, I was bummed for him because just him being from Wisconsin, kind of root for the guy, and sucked to see him get
Well,
benched. But
the good news is he does have another. Now he can continue to play in the playoffs.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they didn't lose. So that is good. But
Yeah, hopefully he can bounce
it,
back and doesn't have to sit on that for the entire offseason.
it does. Yeah, it does. It is always interesting how coaching decisions are different in the playoffs. Of like, hey, like if your guy's struggling, like I don't care what you did in the regular season, like sit on the bench. We've got like this is the game. Like we've got to
Yeah.
figure it out, and we got to go with the hot hand. It does suck to see with him because he's been so good all year. But yeah, I mean, in big games like that, you kind of got to go with the hot hand because
Yeah.
if it's, if one guy's missing, we can't afford to like, hey, just keep doing it till it goes in. Might
Mhm.
not work that way. So
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just that crazy shot from Kobe White, and then Tyler Hero almost had the game winner at the end of the fourth quarter, and then overtime it felt like it was over, and then he hits that crazy shot
yeah,
in the corner, and then they get the ball back and he gets fouled, which I didn't see a replay where it showed their legs, but there was zero physical contact
yeah,
in the
it
arm
didn't look
area
bad at
and
all.
anywhere
Yeah.
above the waist. There was zero contact. Maybe their legs kicked each other and that would be a foul, but yeah, kind of crazy there. But yeah, so yeah, crazy game, Hornets Heat, and yeah, kind of looking forward to watching some more NBA playoffs now as they get ramped up here. Yeah, I don't have any crazy takes, but I'll be tuning in every once in a while and
Who do you
hopefully catch
like?
some.
Who do you think is winning the championship this year?
See, I don't feel qualified enough to give an in-depth take, but I mean, just keep it simple. Give me the Thunder. They're kind of just the best team, right? I mean, it's gonna be tough.
Odds wise, especially, they're very favored.
Yeah.
They're plus 115 right now, and
Oh wow.
the next favorite is the Spurs at plus 500. So they are definitely heavily favored. You think? I mean, the Thunder
Yeah.
should do it. I kind of like the Spurs. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I kind of like the Spurs. I think they're they obviously have a chance. My underdog, if you will. They're like the fourth favored team, but plus 1100. I think I'm kind of rooting for the Nuggets. I don't know. I like Jokic a lot. I think
All right.
that would be a fun one, I think. But
Who's got the best odds out of the East?
out of the East? The Celtics.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured.
Yeah, Celtics at 550.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, it's should be fun. Who knows? Maybe Giannis is a future Celtic. I've seen the rumors.
That would be just terrible.
I've seen rumors
That
for
would
him
be
to about every
terrible.
team though, so
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it yet.
Yeah, nothing to worry about yet, but there's I'm sure more to be on that in the off season.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of the Bucks, Doc Rivers is no longer the coach. I think I saw it was like he stepped down or something is what
He
they called
stepped
it.
down, but yeah, he stepped down, but I think I think it was going to be coming regardless if he
Kind
stepped
of
down or
like
not.
a
But
Mike Tomlin situation
yeah,
from this
right.
past year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, he stepped down. I think that's good for the Bucks. Yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what that looks like now in the coaching situation there in the coming weeks. But um, yeah, no more Doc Rivers. I think that's a good thing for the Bucks. That is
Yeah.
positive movement.
It was necessary. Had to
Yeah,
move
it's a
on and
shame.
try to find some greener grass, I guess.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it really it shouldn't have ever come to this. I mean, the Bucks were so quick to move on with Adrian Griffin. There's people like Andrew Lamers out there that thinks they never should have fired Bud.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go a lot of ways with that, but yeah, I mean, Doc Rivers was never the right hire, and it's time for sure.
Yeah, that was one where like you hear the news and you're just like, oh, really? We're just gonna like waste our time going down this path.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone had high hopes for that, but
no.
oh well. Hopefully Giannis can still be a Buck and they can find a good head coach and give it another shot. But I honestly have no clue what the chances are of that versus him ending up somewhere else.
You know, it feels unlikely. I mean, it feels unlikely even if he stays. The Bucks are going to have to do a lot of other stuff to like make a lot of other moves to be relevant again. I think in the
Yeah.
at least for a championship, they're going to have to do a lot to be relevant. I mean, the window is feels like the window's closed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with where we are right now, I mean, I here's a question for you. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Giannis era in Milwaukee, let's assume it's over, or even if it's not, let's assume we don't win another championship. Was it a failure? Was it a success? What does that look like?
Smashing success.
Really?
You won a championship, dude. I mean, it was 50 years between championships. You made it
Sure.
happen. You had a couple other really promising teams. I still think they would have won it the year COVID hit, and then it went to the Disney championship the Lakers won. They were the best team in the league that year too, and just in the bubble they were never even close to the same team. So some unfortunate there. You could missed opportunities a couple other times, but I think it's still a success overall. You hit on an absolutely generational draft pick, and you made it happen. Built some great teams with him in his prime, and won a championship one of those years. That's, I mean, obviously you see other teams building dynasties, and you want that, but you got one. So for me, it's hard to call it a failure because you got one, and you built a really good team around him. It wasn't like, you can even compare it to like LeBron with his first stint with the Cavs, where they yes, they had some by wins and playoffs, had some good teams with him in that first stint, but they never won a championship, and it was very clear that he was like the only reason they were good for the most part. They had some good players, but like he completely carried. They didn't put enough around him until he came back. Then they had Kyrie Irving there, along with they brought Kevin Love in, and it was enough.
So let me ask you this.
The Bucks did enough.
Let me ask you this. This will relate in a second, in a little bit, but was the Aaron Rodgers era in Green Bay, was that a success or a failure?
I was, my mind went there as well as I was sitting there talking about Giannis and, oh, they won a championship. It's a success. And Aaron Rodgers, man, that one's just hard because it was like a similar situation. You get one, except then you go 10 more years of like being good. And I would say building pretty good teams around him, and then just complete playoff collapses everywhere. So it's the Aaron,
So I think
I think you have to
they're the
call
same
Aaron
thing.
Rodgers a success. I think you have to
Really?
call the Aaron Rodgers time in Green Bay a success.
Really, I think they're both failures.
Oh,
I don't
all
get
right.
me wrong. I think that, Giannis brought the city a championship. Great. We'll be forever grateful. I said from the day that they won the championship, I'm like, hey, Giannis could leave tomorrow. If he left tomorrow, like, we're good. Like, he brought the championship, like, great. That's a good thing. However, I think to call their story here, to call the Giannis era, the Rodgers era, I think looking at both of those, they are both failures because they were set up so well, both teams, in so many different years, and they just could never get it done again. I think to look at the entire time period, I think you need to win more than one championship in that time period to call it a success. Now, don't get me wrong, the championship is great. The Packers winning with Rodgers, the Bucks winning with Giannis. I think they brought a championship. Like, that's great. I think we can appreciate them for that. I think we can acknowledge that, we had some success, right? I think you can acknowledge that there's some success. To call the entire era or the entire like time he was here a success, I feel like it's hard to do that with one championship with what you've been set up
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, from my perspective, like I was giving it, okay, you got a championship, therefore it was a success. But like you were saying, you look at the full body of work and what you see is missed opportunities.
Yep.
You don't see championship because there weren't championships. You see all the other times that you didn't get it done. And especially for the Packers, all the stupid ways they managed to
Yep.
lose in the playoffs. It was always something that they are just, just so frustrating.
And again, these are like team sports. It's not like it's all
Yeah.
Giannis's fault. It's all Rodgers' fault. Like, there are other reasons they lost the games and there were missed
for sure, yeah.
opportunities. But, at the end of the day, like, you're the superstar, and in the Packers instance, the quarterback of the team. Like, most times you have an opportunity to go out there and make a play. If you would have done something a little bit differently, like, might have had a different outlook. And that's why it's
Yeah,
hard
I
to
mean,
look.
I was mostly looking at it from the team perspective as far as
Sure.
success or failure. Because you're one player on a team sport. Basketball, you can have a greater impact because only 5 guys on the floor, and you can
Yep.
be on the floor for 40 plus out of 48 minutes a game if you really want to when it comes down to championship time. Where in the NFL, I mean, you're playing one side of the ball and you only get one game too. So there's not like, oh, off night, good, we're going to beat these guys 4 out of 7.
Yeah, right.
We'll be fine. NFL, you get one game, and it's that's where I lean towards. I guess I lean both ways. I lean towards it being like for the Packers, being a success from the management of the team because they were constantly putting themselves in position to be able to do it. But then a failure because they didn't do it. It didn't. It never. You never got it done, and that takes luck, and it takes talent and timing, and it takes everything to get a championship. So, man, yeah, you look back and it takes one. I guess I'm just reliving all my worst days as a Packer fan here. You got me struggling over here. Just like it takes one stupid thing to happen. You get the 49ers to block our punt for a touchdown and Aaron Rodgers putting up a dud for 3/4 of a game. Or you get against the Buccaneers, you put a guy one-on-one on the outside for the last play before half against Kevin King, who just gets smoked, and you give up a free touchdown to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers right before halftime in a game that you end up losing by 6 or whatever. And it's just that you get the Seahawks in 2014 onside kick, you can't recover it. You get the Bears last year, onside kick, you can't recover it. Man,
Boy, I
yeah.
didn't mean to like drag you all the way down into like some of the worst
Yeah,
days of your life.
we spiraled here, but that's the life of a Packer fan. You get the championships, you get the good team. You're always relevant, at least in my lifetime, which I'm very
Yeah.
lucky. But yeah, just tough times, tough times. But yeah, I mean, success. Yeah, now you got me thinking it's not a success because that's just brutal. You
That's
talked
just
me
where
into it.
that's just my thought on it is like in general when comparing the two, I'm like they're very similar. You just the era is not a success. You had success, you had successful teams, but big picture, I don't think you can call it a success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, do you have anything else NBA that you wanted to talk about? Otherwise, I got a couple other things
No,
on my
go for it.
mind.
What do you got? Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah. I'll take a quick side here before we circle back to some NFL. Did you watch the Masters at all this last weekend?
I did.
What'd you think? I guess, how much did you watch? Were you just like watched on Sunday, or you catch a little
I watched
other?
most of I watched basically all of Sunday. Saturday, I saw a little bit of it, and I didn't really watch any Thursday, but I did see some Friday. So I tuned in a little bit
Pretty
Friday
good
and Saturday,
chunk.
but I
Yeah.
watched the whole thing Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Saturday I tuned in the afternoon for a couple hours. That was electric golf, man. There was like people, everybody was on fire for like 2 hours, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden everybody started hitting it in the water. It was crazy, but it was really fun to watch. Yeah, the first like hour and a half I turned it on, it was just like birdie, 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 eagle, birdie, birdie from everybody, and
Yeah.
it was really exciting. And then I guess Sunday felt a little underwhelming compared to that. Just like nobody that was relevant as far as winning it had a particularly great round. It was, I mean, Rory obviously won it, and he ended up only like 1 under on the day, or 2 under, whatever it
Hmm.
was. And then everyone else that was up there did like par, maybe 1 under, or a
Yeah.
couple over. Scotty Scotty made a big run Saturday, and then just kind of didn't.
He missed a couple big ones on
He had
Sunday. I mean, yeah.
opportunities, and just couldn't do it. And then he had the 2 birdies in a row, like whatever it was, 14 and 15 or 15 and
Yeah.
16, something like
Yeah.
that. And it was like, oh, wait a second, and then nope, nothing there. And yeah, so kind of disappointing. Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously cool for Rory, go back to back, fourth guy ever to do that. Um, yeah, I guess, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I similar. Sunday was a little, like I said, like you said, underwhelming. I thought the interesting thing about Sunday is like there wasn't spectacular like golf play happening, but like it was close. I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
were some times in there that, you know, there were 5 or 6 guys at -10, and I think at the time Rory was -12, -11, something like that. So I mean, it was close within certain times. Obviously, people were at different holes at different times, but
Yeah,
I
Justin
think
Rose
in
went on his little run there,
Justin
and then
Rose went on a run,
and then fell
and
apart a little bit. And
yeah,
yeah,
he fell apart really towards the end. Scotty, like you said, it felt like he had kind of at one point was like not playing great, but like everyone else was not playing much better, and so it was allowing him to make a little bit of a run. I think they said on 17, if he would have birdied 17, I think that was like would have been a record of him birdieing like 4 or 5 in a row or something like that.
mm,
That would have put him in good spot, but obviously didn't happen. So yeah, I mean, I thought Sunday was less exciting than Saturday, but at least, you know, it was a little closer. Obviously, I think, you know, going into Saturday rather, and even throughout Saturday, it was kind of like, wow, like Rory's got this thing in the bag. It feels like he's got like I think it was a 6-stroke lead at one point,
mm-hmm.
and then he just kind of choked it away end of Saturday and went into Sunday with the game to play. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch much golf, but for whatever reason, the Masters is just special. It just
Masters
feels
is
like
always fun.
you gotta tune in.
Yeah.
Um, it's always fun to watch. Just the vibes, the nostalgia. They always throw the highlights in there, the
Yeah.
iconic shots, and it just feels special. So fun sporting event. That would be one I think it'd be cool to go to one time.
I agree.
Everyone talks about all the concessions. You know, you get your $1.50 pimento whatever sandwich, whatever
Yeah.
it is, and
Mm-hmm.
just the beautiful golf course, no phones. Unique,
Yeah. You just kind of,
unique in this world of sports. Kind of
yeah,
little time capsule there.
unique experience, and you just get to kind of be there and watch golf, and like you said, no phones, and yeah, it's a nice course, pretty place to be. You got the concessions and things like that are supposed to be cheap, and that are cheap and supposed to be good, and yeah, just a different experience in sports for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess then the last few things I have are NFL related. I wanted to touch
Okay,
on here.
sure.
Um, my Packers, we traded away Dontavian Wicks. Uh, that's a guy, pretty, not a big time guy. Kind of our fourth receiver for the last couple years, probably on the depth chart. But man, that guy was near and dear to my heart. I'm gonna miss him. I really, really liked him. He was just kind of he has that twitchy. I don't know. He's just fun to watch. He
Yeah,
brings a lot of energy and he can get open and he can make plays and yeah, I'll miss seeing him out there. What I will say though is that the trade they made um is the Packers organization to a T and a big reason for why the Packers for my entire life have been relevant. They drafted this guy for a 5th round pick, used him for 4 years, got some decent wide receiver 4, sometimes wide receiver 3 with guys being hurt play out of him. And then after your 4 years, you sell him, or 3 years it was cuz he had one more year left on his rookie deal. Uh, you sell him for a 5th round pick and a 6th round pick. So it's basically like if you buy something off Amazon, like you buy your Halloween costume off Amazon, you wear it for Halloween, you pack it up and you return it and you get your money back.
yeah,
It's a very sustainable way to handle business. It just kind of sucks sometimes because you gotta see guys that you like walk away
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a good business deal for them to move on from him. But it's just sad to see him go.
Yeah, it sucks for the fans, especially that are fall in love with certain players and like certain players, and then all of a sudden it's like you kind of know this is what's coming for depending on the player and their role, but that's yeah, I guess it is a hard thing. I don't get the trade from the Eagles' perspective. I don't understand necessarily what the goal there was for them. I guess
Yeah, I mean, I know who, assuming they keep AJ Brown around,
yeah, yeah,
obviously him and Devontae Smith are the top two.
yeah.
Did they have a good wide receiver 3 this past year or not really? I
Yeah, I
can't
forget
remember.
they did. I forget who it was, but they did. But you know what? Now that you say that, Dontavian Wicks is probably better than most of their 3, 4, 5 guys. So I think
Yeah.
he probably will fit in on the 3 spot. I guess. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I could see him especially with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the field. He's getting if anyone's trying to go man coverage on the Eagles, good
Yeah,
luck. Cuz I mean,
I
AJ Brown is a monster. Devontae Smith obviously can torch you. And then Dontavian Wicks, he's his expertise, I would say,
yeah,
is man coverage. He can
yep,
he can beat a guy one on one. That's where
yeah,
that was his probably biggest role in the Packers. Our other receivers weren't aren't that good of man beaters really. Um So we'll miss him for that role on the Packers. And yeah, I mean, the Eagles, that's just a good compliment, I guess. And you, if you're an Eagles fan, you got to feel really good about your receivers if,
Yeah.
as far as talent. The other things with AJ Brown, getting along with everyone and wanting to be there, that's another situation. But if he's there
Yeah.
and wanting to play for you, you got to feel really good about that.
If he wants to be on the field, it's a
Yeah.
great day then. Yeah. What what so you think the Packers are drafting a receiver then possibly?
Yes, especially because this year, um, I guess after this upcoming year, so in 2027 right now, we currently have just Matthew Golden and Savion Williams under
Right.
contract for 2 years from now. So it'll be, I can almost guarantee there will be at least one receiver drafted by the Packers. Um, Not necessarily to be an impact player this year, or they might not even see the field this year. It'll be, I think, a one later round, unless they really like a guy, then they're going to take him. But yeah, it'll be a guy that will, you know, fill in, try to be wide receiver 6, probably, I guess, and then develop into being able to be in a sophomore season wide receiver 4 or 3, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I guess for this year for the Packers, it's kind of a more fixed roles and core from everyone than there has been in the last few years. And that's one thing I heard Matt LaFleur say in a presser was that there had been complaints from some of his skill players, probably receivers, um, about their involvement and their roles not being defined. Where now it's set. I mean, our top 5 weapons are going to be very defined. It's Watson, Reed, and Golden at receiver, Kraft at tight end, and Josh Jacobs at running back.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 5 skill guys I want to see on the field as much as possible. Um, and when if those 5 guys are on the field, man, I feel really good about our offense.
Right. Yeah.
Um, that that lineup to me gets me really excited. Um, and I'm really excited for Matthew Golden. I know underwhelming rookie year. Some people say he's kind of a bust. Some people say Matt LaFleur just like didn't feel like using him. Well, he's going to be out there this year. He's going to
Yeah.
him
I
and
mean,
him
he
and
doesn't have
Watson
a.
are going to be the outside receivers, and Reed is going to be in the slot primarily, is what I see
And
happening here.
I
So
don't think
he's going
he's
to
a
get his
bust. I
opportunities.
mean,
No.
you saw. Yeah. I mean, we saw in the Bear game in the final playoff game, like he can play. He played
Mm-hmm.
fairly well in that game, and now he's not gonna have a choice. He's gonna be out there, so like he's gonna play. I mean, I think part of the issue last year is he just didn't have a lot of playing opportunities, and he wasn't on the field as much. But now he'll be
Mm-hmm.
out there, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's with the Packers offense over the last few years. It's always been, well, there's a lot of mouths to feed, and
Yep.
nobody's going to have these gaudy stats. And now,
Yep.
I mean, this year there's it's not going to be like when we had Devontae Adams in 2020 and 2021 or whatever, when it was just like this is the guy of our offense, and then everyone else is
Yeah.
kind of whoever. But it's going to be those 5 guys, and then a significant drop off in production for anyone below there. Um, so I'm kind of excited for that. To like, I just want to see these 5 guys be all on the field and ball out, and hopefully Jordan Love can still be a baller and play some good football, and everyone can stay healthy. And this if the offensive line can play a little better this year, this can be a great offense. So I'm excited for that. Other things I'm excited for: the Packers signed Sky Moore. Not a big deal. Most people would think. For those who don't know, the Packers the last couple years have just decided to not return punts. They've put whoever they think might be able to catch the ball back there to varying degrees of success as far as them being able to catch the ball, but they like have very rarely attempted to return a punt. It's been a fair catch or let the ball bounce. And if there's no one around, maybe try to return it, but then you probably fumble it or go backwards anyways. Sky Moore is going to come here and be a punt returner and wide receiver 5 and probably kickoff returner too if Keyshawn Nixon still doesn't want to do it or whatever's going on there. So I'm kind of excited to have maybe like we're going to try to have a return game this year. That could
Sky
be
Moore's a player. Sky Moore's a
thing.
player that for every team he's ever been on, like he's always been that like last receiver on the roster. Every once in a while, you see him like, oh, Sky Moore like caught a ball, but like where do you see him? He's out there returning punts, returning kickoffs, and like that's just his role, and he's good at it. So yeah, I mean, it's a great fit for. I think Sky Moore would be a good fit for like most NFL teams if they use him in that capacity. So
yeah, I feel like he's just a guy. Anybody would happy with him sitting at their wide receiver 5 and returning their punts and kickoffs.
Yep.
So man, I'm just, if nothing else, I'm super pumped to not have my butthole puckered every time we're receiving a punt, worried that we're gonna screw it up so bad because our guy can't judge the ball flight and catch the ball. Like this guy knows how to do that and like return it. So this is really exciting.
What a
this
phrase.
is big news in Packerland.
What a phrase. Yeah.
But yeah, so what we're talking Packers, I'm curious, what would you, if you had to guess end of this season, end of the regular season, what would you guess the outcome for the NFC North is, first through fourth? If you had to guess, as a non-biased Giants fan.
Well, I'm somewhat biased. I don't like the Packers, but that's tough because I think
it's a tricky division.
It really is.
It might be.
I think the Bears finished first. I think the Packers probably finished second. Then the Lions, then the Vikings. I think the thing with the Vikings,
it's tricky because the Vikings could be good.
They could be good. They could be like. I mean,
they could be like a very solid like their roster coaching staff is playoff caliber.
Yes, it is. This is nothing against the Vikings. I think they will be a decent team. I think, honest to God, like I could be really wrong about this. I think any team in the NFC North could win the division. I think it'll be that close. I will say with that comment, there's always something that happens. Somebody's going to get injured. Something's going to like occur that one of the teams is just going to like underperform and be not as good.
Or one of these teams is just going to randomly suck. Yeah.
Or one will randomly suck. Yeah, that too. But it's tough because on paper they all look good. I mean, I think what it's going to come down to really is going to be divisional matchups, and the divisional matchups could go either way because there's a lot of different factors that can go into that. So I think it'll come down to divisional matchups. I think the Bears win the division. The other three, man, I think the Packers probably get second. The other two, I'm 50-50 on. I think the Lions will stay kind of a little bit regressed, as they have been, compared to how they were in the past. But yeah, I really don't know about the Vikings. They're kind of a wild card.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it should be a very fun division, though.
I think so too.
Just thinking about it.
I think it's a division you're going to see.
All these games are going to be so fun to watch.
I think it's a division you're going to see 3 playoff teams from. I think you're going to see 2 wild cards and a division winner.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would be too shocked if that was the case.
Yeah,
could be, or it could be everyone goes 10-7, and then who knows what happens? Like it could be everyone beats each other. And
what divisions do you play? What are your like divisions that each team plays?
It's the AFC East.
Okay.
And I don't remember the other one right now.
Okay. So the East, you've got Baltimore.
No, that's AFC North. East is
Oh yeah, you're right.
Patriots, Jets, Bills, and
Bills.
Dolphins.
Yes, 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 yes. Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins. So really, I mean, like probably 2-2 for most of the most teams. You would think you probably you, games for your entire division versus Patriots and Buffalo can go either way, and then you probably beat the Jets and the Dolphins. So I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at probably 2-2 for the entire division for the most part. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to come down to divisional games.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, should be a really fun division. I guess what's what's your take on the NFC East coming up this year?
You know, I don't know.
Eagles got to be the
Um,
favorites, right?
yeah, they're the favorites. Between them and Dallas, they'll probably one of them will win it again. I think the Commanders are going to continue to regress. I think they had like a lucky year that they were good, and like now I don't think they're going to be as good. I
And
think if
that's
Jake
kind of
Daniels stays,
the Dan Quinn MO is like he comes
yeah,
in and lights the team on fire, and then it's just kind of everyone else in the league kind of remembers like, oh, we know how to beat Dan Quinn's teams, and his
yeah,
teams just kind of like
yep,
are old and fall off. And
yeah. So I think the Commanders will finish in last. I think the Giants will finish in second or third, probably third, depending on. I think the Eagles will win the division. I think the Giants and Dallas will be battling for 2 and 3. I think the Giants are going to have a better year this year. They've got the
hmm
pieces for sure,
yeah,
and hopefully with the draft
and the
coming up,
coach
we've got
theoretically too.
get some coach theoretically too. Yeah, it should be a good piece. So I think the Giants will be 2 or 3, Dallas will be 2 or 3, Washington will be 4, and I think the Eagles will win the division.
Yeah, yeah, I'm probably with you there. I'd throw the Giants in there at second. Why not?
I think
Get them in the playoffs here. Get
I
us
was gonna say I was
9 or
gonna
10
say
wins and get you in the playoffs.
I think whoever gets second in the division will be that third wild card spot. I think we're getting 2 from the NFC North and then 2 from the or 1 rather from the East.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I guess we got just a couple minutes here before we wrap up. I was going to talk a little NFL draft, unless you got anything else you wanted to hit on.
no, go for it. We got a couple minutes. Let's go.
Yeah. This draft is already just about a week away here.
Yeah, week from tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you final takes on Mendoza and any other quarterbacks that you think are
I
actually
think
potentially like quality starters in the league?
I think
Simpson, I know, has
Mendoza's
been talked about pretty highly as well.
who? Sorry,
But
say that again.
Ty Simpson out of Alabama.
Oh yeah. Yep. I think Simpson he's got like some fraud potential there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's stuff to be proven there yet, so we'll see. I think Mendoza will be good. I think Mendoza will be fine, a fine quarterback. I think especially if you get him in the right system, build around him. Sounds like I feel like he's obviously going to go to Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think I like where they're setting up there in Vegas. I think that the base they have around him is a good start, and he'll just have to figure out. I mean, he was the guy in Indiana, so obviously this is a different league, but he's had the experience before. I like him. I think he'll be good.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't the Raiders, I'd be more bought in to what the Raiders are
Sure.
doing.
Yep. Yep.
Because like
Yep.
you look at it on paper and it's like, man, like this team could like be building in the right direction. So yeah, I'd be okay with them kind of turning things around and being competitive there, and obviously a pretty tough division in the AFC West. But yeah, hopefully Mendoza can play pretty well, and that'll be fun to see. I want to get your quick opinion on Jeremiah Love and generally drafting a running back like top 10. Do you think he's
I think
that
I
dude?
have a very quick answer to this question. I have a very my thought on drafting a running back in the top 10, given what the Giants did with Saquon Barkley. I think you can draft a running back in the top 10 if your team is ready to compete. If the Giants draft him, I'm going to be pissed because I don't think we're at the point where we need that yet. I think give it a year or two, maybe we are. But really, quite simply spoken, if you are ready to compete, if you think the missing piece for you is the running back, we've got everything else we need, or virtually everything else we need to win the Super Bowl and compete, I have no problem with it. Go ahead and do it. If you're going to do it and then all of a sudden 4 or 5 years later, it's like, oh, shoot, we like shouldn't have done that. Like we weren't ready to compete. Like now we got to go trade the guy. Then don't. It's a dumb mistake. I feel very passionately about this after the Giants did it. But yes, if you're ready to compete, do it. If not, you're good.
All right. Good take. All
right.
Any other last minute draft crushes you want to throw out there? You got a guy in mind or not really?
Not off the top of my head yet. I think
That's
the Giants should go defensively. They should take a safety or something like that in the first round. I think that's my hope, and then hopefully make some moves and trade up here. But
all right,
those are my takes.
All right, quick shout out. My draft crush for the Packers, quarterback Taylon Green out of Arkansas, could be the next Malik Willis as a backup out here if he falls late enough rounds. So keep an eye on that.
All right. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and we'll do this again.
All right. Yep. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll catch you guys later.